The strongest glutton in the Marvel Universe, Galactus, one of the 5 primeval gods, arrives in New York.
Your planet is now marked for death. Galactus.
Facing the most powerful enemy in history, the Fantastic Four must go all out to protect the Earth. The Thing, the Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, and the Invisible Woman. These 4 superheroes take turns stepping up to bring you a dazzling final battle. 4 years ago, 4 astronauts met with a powerful cosmic ray storm during a space mission. Their genes were affected by the cosmic rays, awakening superpowers. The 4 formed the Fantastic Four, using their newly acquired abilities to protect the safety of citizens. Invisible Woman Susan Storm can make herself an object she touches invisible. She can also create energy force fields. These force fields can be used for both defense and attack. Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards' body can stretch and deform at will like rubber. He can also change his shape to adapt to various environments. He has an extremely high IQ and is the leader of the team. Ben Grimm, also known as the Thing, his body mutated into a giant rock-covered form, possessing super strength and defense. He can withstand massive physical impacts. Finally, there's the Human Torch, Johnny Storm. He can engulf his whole body in flames, generating high temperatures and shockwaves, and achieve flight through flame propulsion. The Fantastic Four rose to fame by defeating the Mole Man and saving the Pan Am building. Then the 4 went on to repel Kurgo, the Red Ghost, and the Super Apes one after another. They saved New York from danger numerous times, but bad things don't happen every day. On a regular basis, Mr. Fantastic taught interesting science on a TV educational program.
Who wants to see a big explosion?
The Invisible Woman had a more high-level job, and had been active in politics for years. In short, the Fantastic Four IP had permeated every aspect of New York, and this heroic family had received good news. After 2 years of trying, the Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic finally had their own baby. The Human Torch was very happy for his sister when he heard the news. Most importantly, he got to be an uncle. To prepare for the new baby's arrival, they gave their residence a major renovation. They sealed all the plugs, put away the knives and dangerous items on the table, removing everything that could be harmful to the baby. The residents of New York City and the TV stations were also very concerned about the Invisible Woman's unborn child. They wanted to know if the baby would be born with superpowers. At this point, the base received a new set of deep space transmission signals. Unluckily, this set of signals was too complex. Mr. Fantastic couldn't figure out its mystery for the time being, so he turned to tinker with his bridge teleportation test, but the power was too high and burned out the base's circuits. The speechless Human Torch took the set of signals back to his room to study. Soon, the Invisible Woman returned with her big belly. She found the little robot Herbie making a crib in the nursery. She was quite dissatisfied with this, but Mr. Fantastic thought such menial tasks were more suitable for Herbie. But the tester he made wasn't something ordinary people could do. This device allowed people to see the fetus in the pregnant woman's belly through muscle tissue. The little one looked very healthy, while the 3 were busy with their own things. The Thing had just bought cookies from Macy's. He no longer felt sad about his appearance. He even had the leisure to amuse the children, and thus met the female teacher Rachel. The 4 gathered together at dinner time, but disturbing sirens came from outside the window. Over the past few months, a group of criminal organizations had been causing trouble. From time to time, these included the Puppet Master from Bowery Street, the Wizard from Gramercy Park, and the Demon from Washington Heights. Luckily, these lairs were all under Mr. Fantastic's surveillance. But tonight's situation was a bit different. Countless sparks appeared in the sky. The Human Torch quickly flew over to check, and vaguely saw a figure slowly falling to the ground. The Invisible Woman and the others also rushed to the scene. The creature that fell to the ground had a metal-like outer skin. Judging from its appearance, it should be the Silver Surfer from the comics. It came up and said, "Your planet has now been marked for destruction. Our master, the cosmic god, Galactus, plans to devour the Earth. Mortals can't contend with cosmic forces, so cherish the present days and enjoy the final carnival." They even came to remind everyone to have time to say goodbye to their families before destroying the Earth. This is more decent than most villains. The Silver Surfer's master is called Galactus. His ability is to gain energy by devouring planets. After delivering the death notice, the Silver Surfer turned and left on his surfboard. The Human Torch immediately chased after and grabbed the opponent's surfboard, but the Silver Surfer threw him hundreds of meters away. Because this alien creature was too fast, the base equipment couldn't track her whereabouts. Only able to find out where she had been, Mr. Fantastic soon found clues about Galactus in the Delphi neighborhood galaxy. This guy devoured 5 planets in a row, and all the devoured planets had similarities. They must have been carefully selected. Mr. Fantastic planned to pilot the Excelsior to Galactus' lair for negotiations. They held a press conference before departure. The next day, they took off amid widespread anticipation. The energy signal of the Herald tracked a binary star system. As long as they found it, they could find Galactus. The group first entered the dark side of the larger planet in the galaxy, but Mr. Fantastic unexpectedly detected that the Herald's heat signal actually came from inside the planet. As soon as he finished speaking, the sphere in front cracked, and a mechanical vortex mixed with flames gradually appeared. The Excelsior avoided the meteorites and hid using its stealth mode. They passed through a narrow tunnel and found that this planet, which is 13% larger than Earth, had actually been hollowed out. At this point, a red light locked onto the Excelsior. The console immediately malfunctioned due to its influence. Mr. Fantastic didn't resist head-on in order to protect the engine. He wanted to see what the people on the other side wanted to do. A blue light scanned them one by one, finally locking onto the fetus in the Invisible Woman's womb. Then the Silver Surfer appeared on his surfboard and led the four to meet his master Galactus. The building in front of them was very magnificent, and it was obvious that it couldn't have been built by humans. The Human Torch caught up with the Silver Surfer, wanting to know what he had said before throwing him away. The Human Torch always felt that the tone was very gentle. The Silver Surfer explained that it was a blessing, meaning go to the afterlife with those you love. The Human Torch consumed too much oxygen in his burning state, and had to honestly return to the team. The four soon stood before Galactus, who was huge in size with a faint light emitting from his pupils. He immediately took notice of the child in the Invisible Woman's belly. It should be noted that Galactus kept devouring planets not to strengthen his power, but because he had to feed himself and keep eating. Galactus saw that the Invisible Woman's child possessed cosmic power, which could make him never need to devour planets everywhere again, once and for all. So he proposed to exchange the child for the safety of the Earth. Mr. Fantastic definitely disagreed. The Human Torch took action right away. He used flames to temporarily hold Galactus back, so that Mr. Fantastic could take his sister and leave quickly. But the flames accelerated the consumption of oxygen in the protective suit. The Human Torch couldn't hold on after a while. The Silver Surfer stepped forward to block everyone. The Invisible Woman controlled her with a force field and threw her hard into the magma. The thing took the opportunity to pick up the Human Torch and rush back to the spaceship. At this time, the Invisible Woman, affected by Galactus energy, was about to give birth. The situation was urgent, so they rushed back to Earth. But as soon as the Excelsior entered superluminal speed, the Silver Surfer caught up. The Silver Surfer didn't give up easily, and the Invisible Woman also had the intention to kill. She told the Human Torch to take down the Silver Surfer to protect the child, but the lightspeed travel distorted the energy beam, making it impossible to hit the target. In contrast, the Silver Surfer nimbly dodged on his surfboard, just like a loach. Mr. Fantastic quickly scanned the surroundings and found a large neutron star. This kind of star was similar to a black hole. As long as the Excelsior lured the Silver Surfer there, it could trap him in the neutron star's gravity well. But the Excelsior must also bear the risk of being sucked in. Now that things had come to this, they had to take a gamble. Luckily, the plan was a great success, and the Silver Surfer was indeed trapped in the gravity well. But the Excelsior consumed a lot of fuel after the previous operation, and no longer had enough to support their return to Earth. But the thing discovered an asteroid. They could slingshot around that star using its orbital momentum, but the spaceship's speed must reach 0.88 times the speed of light. The thing and the Human Torch concentrated to accelerate. Mr. Fantastic hurried back to the Invisible Woman's side to help her deliver the baby. There was no time to wait for landing now. The Invisible Woman tightly gripped the platform beneath her. After a heart-wrenching bout of pain, Franklin, the strongest elementary school student in Marvel, was successfully born. He looked very healthy and normal. It's hard to believe that such a small body contains cosmic power. The four went back to Earth after going through hardships. They received a warm welcome as soon as they got off the spaceship. Not to mention that the Invisible Woman was holding a baby. The media surrounded them, making it impossible to get through. Faced with everyone's expectant eyes, Mr. Fantastic could only admit that the negotiation had failed, because Galactus' price was too high.
Well, what does he want?
What did he ask? He asked for our child.
Of course, these people who thought it was none of their business felt that sacrificing one child to protect the Earth was a good deal. Faced with doubts, Mr. Fantastic didn't want to say more and left the scene. With his wife and child, on the other side, the Silver Surfer failed to retrieve the child, and could only go back to admit guilt. She couldn't help but interject, saying that it was just a child. The next second, she was grabbed by Galactus from a distance. Whether it's a child or anything else, a being with infinite power is the best blood bag. Galactus must obtain this treasure. The Fantastic Four stayed in their base to find a solution. They analyzed the samples that Herbie collected from Galactus' spaceship. All evidence shows that he existed before our universe, before our reality. It might take 10 years just to understand Galactus' composition. While Mr. Fantastic was deep in thought, the Human Torch also went to study the ancient language the Silver Surfer used. He found that the phrase was similar to the deep space transmission signal captured by the base earlier. That meant this signal was most likely sent by the Silver Surfer. If they could decipher the content, there might be some unexpected gains. At the same time, many radical protesters took to the streets, demanding that Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman hand over the child. Some Galactus cults even took advantage of the chaos to form. In short, the world outside was in chaos. Everyone was waiting for their next move. The Invisible Woman walked into the crowd gathered downstairs, holding Franklin. She wanted to make everyone realize that Franklin was a living person, not some bargaining chip that could be traded. The Invisible Woman wouldn't sacrifice her child for the world. Similarly, she wouldn't sacrifice the world for her own child. The Invisible Woman told everyone that the Fantastic Four's refusal to hand over the child didn't mean they would leave everyone to their fate.
We will face this together. We will fight this together. And we will defeat this together.
Mr. Fantastic finally worked out a method. He had long since solved the physical problem of teleportation. He could make an egg teleport in the blink of an eye, and the only difference between the Earth and an egg is their size. We can move the Earth to a place where Galactus will never find it. To achieve this, we first need to build a teleportation bridge spanning the globe. They will be synchronized and interconnected, capable of transporting the Earth to a new solar system, within a 2% habitable zone error margin, so that Galactus will never find us again. After the plan was finalized, all countries began to cooperate in building the bridges, but Galactus had already arrived near Mars. Time was pressing, and to realize Mr. Fantastic's idea, a large amount of energy reserves were needed. Otherwise, it would deplete New York City's power grid in 2 seconds. So from now on, a global energy curfew would be implemented. At the designated time, all lighting would be turned off to accumulate energy for the operation of the teleportation bridges. The Human Torch, who was sequestered to crack the transmission signals, had to use himself as a light source. Luckily, he finally figured out something. The thing told the Human Torch not to get excited yet. Hurry over to help. The Earth's migration was about to go to the countdown. Ordinary people also gathered in front of their TVs, anxiously waiting for news. Just as the migration was about to succeed, the teleportation bridge suddenly exploded. The Silver Surfer rode her surfboard through the sea of fire, destroying several teleportation bridges one after another. Then she charged straight for the base. Her target was presumably Franklin. Mr. Fantastic sealed off the base right away, but in the blink of an eye, the Human Torch darted out. He lured the Silver Surfer near the electronic screen, then synchronously played the deep space transmission signals. When the Silver Surfer heard the language of her planet, she indeed stopped moving. The Human Torch reconstructed the Silver Surfer's experience. Through these 23 transmission signals, she lived on a planet called Zenla, and was once a promising scientist. When Galactus approached Zenla to save her homeland and protect her child, this female scientist voluntarily became Galactus' herald and was transformed into the Silver Surfer by him. And these signals included not only those sent by Zenla, but also distress calls from those destroyed planets.
You brought Galactus to all of these planets. Now, you're bringing him here to my home.
The Human Torch caught up with the Silver Surfer, who was on the verge of collapse. He explained, "I'm just like you were back then. I only want to save my own planet." The Silver Surfer couldn't help them get through this crisis. She could only advise the Human Torch to quickly take the child and leave Earth. With that, she vanished into the night sky. Now the plan to move the Earth had failed. The Human Torch's plea for help to the Silver Surfer also came to nothing. Mr. Fantastic suddenly had a new idea. Although the remaining teleportation bridges couldn't move a whole planet, they were more than enough to move a giant. If all the power grids on the East Coast were turned on for recharging, the last portal could be maintained for 37 seconds. As long as Galactus was thrown into it, he could be teleported to the far edge of the universe. Without a spaceship nearby, Galactus would be trapped forever. But how to lure Galactus to Times Square? The Invisible Woman glanced at the baby monitor. There was no other choice now. They had to risk using Franklin as bait. Mr. Fantastic made an explosion-proof and radiation-proof baby basket for his son. Then they started evacuating the residents around the square. asking them to move to the subterranea for temporary shelter. This was thanks to the Invisible Woman, who signed a contract with the underground world to secure a place for everyone to take shelter. On the other side, Galactus, sensing Franklin's energy, indeed woke up from his slumber. His massive body jumped into the sea. The Statue of Liberty looked no bigger than a doll next to Galactus. He marched majestically along the streets. The underground world felt intense vibrations, seeing that Galactus had arrived at Times Square. The Thing and the Invisible Woman hurried forward to interfere, to give the Human Torch a chance to move the baby. At this point, Galactus was just one step away from stepping into the trap. Everyone waited anxiously for the right moment, but the latter sensed that Franklin had been moved away. Galactus immediately turned around and headed for the base building. The Human Torch and the Thing rushed over to stop him. The two of them launched successive attacks, but this level of force was useless against Galactus. If the Human Torch hadn't grabbed the Thing in time, he might have flown out of the Earth. On the other side, the Invisible Woman drove and blocked in front of Galactus, but the other person waved his hand and knocked her away. Mr. Fantastic locked onto the mechanism on Galactus' back and chased after him with his stretchable arms. This skill was really similar to Luffy from One Piece. He nimbly climbed onto Galactus' back and unscrewed the spiral nut on it. Galactus let out a wail and grabbed Mr. Fantastic. He stretched him to the limit like a child playing with plasticine. In the nick of time, the Thing and the Human Torch arrived just in time. The two used a combined attack to knock Galactus away and successfully rescued Mr. Fantastic. But Galactus had already arrived in front of the base building and grabbed the baby in the cradle. As long as he devoured this child, he could be freed from eternal hunger. The Invisible Woman went all out to release her force field. Her spellcasting movement looked a lot like the Scarlet Witch, probably in this parallel universe. The Invisible Woman's power is similar to that of the Scarlet Witch, otherwise, how could she hold back Galactus alone? As the saying goes, opportunity knocks but once. The Invisible Woman struggled to push him into the range of the teleportation bridge. The Human Torch immediately flew back to the console and opened the teleportation portal. Mr. Fantastic made a leap, jumped onto Galactus, and saved his son. Galactus gradually vanished into the teleportation circle, just as everyone was about to breathe a sigh of relief. He actually grabbed a nearby building and tried to climb back. Seeing this, the Human Torch planned to sacrifice himself to stop Galactus, but the Silver Surfer knocked him aside and vanished into the teleportation circle with Galactus. As for the Invisible Woman, she had exerted too much energy earlier and had lost all signs of life. She had protected her son with her own life. Franklin seemed to sense his mother was gone, crying and fussing to climb onto the Invisible Woman. His little hand pressed against his mother's chest. The next second, the Invisible Woman actually came back to life. This little baby is indeed no ordinary child. Now that the crisis was over, people's lives had returned to their original rhythm. Although no one knows how far Franklin will grow, but what matters is that he's with his family at this point. The movie ends here. The ending might feel abrupt, with the Invisible Woman repelling Galactus seemingly out of nowhere, but in the comics, her abilities are very powerful. She can even take on the Celestials, cosmic deities, coupled with the classic "a mother's strength" trope. The ending plot isn't really unexpected, it's just that it doesn't push the movie to a climax, making it feel like a hasty ending. The movie hints a bit at Franklin's abilities. In the comics, this child is an Omega-level mutant, capable of altering reality, controlling energy and matter, and time travel. Overall, it's a very formulaic superhero movie. The theme is always family. The space mission scene starting in the second act is brilliantly executed. In terms of atmosphere, set design, and the setup of unexpected situations, unluckily, the final showdown is a bit disappointing. If the repulsion of Galactus had been filmed more spectacularly, the watchability of this movie would have been greatly improved.